You just hit submit on your 47th application this month. 3 weeks in, 0 callbacks. Meanwhile, your colleague with half your experience just got poached by your dream company. The difference isn't talent, it's not luck, it's strategy. And today we're going to flip the script on how you approach your job search entirely. This is Career Cheat Codes, and this week's cheat code: stop applying, start getting found. Here's a number that should make you rethink everything. Source candidates, the ones recruiters find, are 5 times more likely to get hired than people who apply. 5 times. That's not a marginal advantage. That's a completely different game. And most job seekers, they're not even playing it. They're sitting in the application pile with 1,000 other resumes, waiting, hoping, refreshing their inbox. There's a better way. Let's talk about where recruiters actually look. Because if you want to be found, you need to understand how the search works. 87% of recruiters globally use LinkedIn as their primary sourcing platform. Not job boards, not Indeed, LinkedIn. But here's what most people miss. Recruiters aren't scrolling through job applicants. They're running searches. Boolean searches. Keyword filters. AI-powered matching tools. They type in Product Manager FinTech Series B and LinkedIn shows them the top 50 matches. If your profile isn't optimized for those searches, you don't exist. Here's what makes this even more urgent. 93% of recruiters plan to increase their use of AI in hiring this year. AI is now the first reviewer of your application, not a human. An algorithm. And that algorithm is trained to rank, filter, and eliminate in seconds. So what's the alternative? You become the candidate that recruiters find proactively. You position yourself so the algorithm puts you at the top of their search results. The data backs this up. Preferred candidates are 15 times more likely to get hired. 15 times. That's a 34% higher rate versus 2% for cold applicants. And it's not just about getting hired. Refer candidates get hired 55% faster than candidates from traditional channels. Think about that timeline. While everyone else is waiting 8 weeks, you're already onboarding. You're already earning. You've already moved on. And the retention numbers tell an interesting story too. Referral hires stick around 46% retention rate compared to just 33% for job board hires. Why? Because when someone vouches for you, there's already trust. There's already context. The company knows what they're getting, and you know what you're walking into. Companies save about $3,500 per referral hire. That's money not spent on recruiters, job postings, and endless screening calls. So here's the strategic insight. When you make yourself easy to find and easy to refer, you're not just helping yourself. You're making the hiring manager's job easier. You're reducing their risk. Let's get tactical. First optimization, your LinkedIn headline. This is the single most important piece of real estate on your profile. Most people waste it. Your headline shouldn't just state your job title. It should contain the exact keywords recruiters are searching for. Think like a search engine. If you're a product manager who's worked on fintech products, your headline should say exactly that. Product Manager, Fintech, B2B SaaS, Growth Strategy. Hit multiple keywords. Here's an optimization most people never think about. LinkedIn lets you add up to 50 skills to your profile. How many do you have listed? If it's under 25, you're leaving matches on the table. More skills equals higher match rates with recruiter searches. Go through job descriptions for roles you want. Add every relevant skill you genuinely have. All 25. Minimum. Now let's talk about something most job seekers completely ignore. The follow button on company pages. It's not decorative. It's strategic. Recruiters can filter their searches to show only candidates who already follow their company page. That's a signal. It says you're interested. You've done your homework. Make a list of your top 15 target companies. Go follow every single one of them today. It takes 5 minutes, and it puts you in a smaller, more qualified pool of candidates. But visibility isn't just about your profile, it's about your activity. And that brings us to what experts are calling micro-networking. For 2026, micro-networking, that's short, intentional outreach, even just likes and comments on social posts, is becoming one of the most powerful job search tactics. Here's how it works. You identify hiring managers and recruiters at your target companies. Then you start engaging with their content. Thoughtfully, consistently. Leave a comment that adds value. Not great post, but but something that demonstrates you actually understand their industry. That's how you become a familiar name before you ever apply. Think about it from the recruiter's perspective. They post something about hiring trends. Someone leaves an insightful comment. A week later, that same person's resume lands on their desk. There's already recognition, already credibility. Now let's talk about the most underused weapon in job searching. Second-degree connections. These are people who know people you know, and they're surprisingly willing to help. Look at your LinkedIn connections. Find someone who works at your target company. Then look at who you know in common. That's your introduction. Ask your mutual connection for a warm intro. Here's what most people get wrong about this. They wait until they see a job posting. Then they scramble for connections. That's backwards. You should be building these relationships now, when you're not desperately searching. That's when you have leverage. That's when the conversations feel genuine instead of transactional. Try this. Reach out to 3 to 5 second-degree connections per week, not to ask for jobs, just to learn. I'd love to hear about your experience at Company X. Could we chat for 15 minutes? Most people say yes. They remember being in your position. And guess what happens when a role opens up 3 months later? Your name is already in their head. Let's talk about the direct ask. At some point, you need to actually ask for referrals. This feels uncomfortable for most people. But there's a way to do it that works. Here's the script. I'm targeting roles at Company X. If I find a position that's a fit, would you be comfortable referring me? That's it. Simple, direct, no pressure. You're giving them an easy out. They can say no, but most won't, because you've already built the relationship. You've already demonstrated value. The referral is natural. And here's why companies love referrals. The data shows referred employees demonstrate 33% higher job performance. They generate 27% more profit. When someone refers you, they're putting their reputation on the line. That accountability matters. It means the match is usually better from day one. Now let me address the elephant in the room. A lot of people hear this advice and think, but I don't have connections at my target companies. I don't have a network. Here's the truth. Everyone starts with 0 connections at their dream company. The difference is whether you take action to change that or whether you just keep applying into the void. And if you're finding this kind of strategy useful, this is what we do every week on Career Cheatcodes. Consider subscribing so you don't miss the next one. Let me share something a LinkedIn executive said recently. It cuts straight to the point about what's changing in hiring. AI will be a critical part of how hiring is done in 2026. Tailor applications and avoid mass applying with generic cover letters, as AI is now often the first to review. That's the game now. If you're still mass applying with the same resume everywhere, you're optimizing for rejection. The AI is built to filter you out. But when you're sourced, when a recruiter finds you, you skip that filter entirely. You go straight to human conversation. That's where you can actually differentiate yourself. Let me give you the math on this, because the numbers are stark. When you apply cold, your success rate is about 2%. 2 out of 100. When you get referred, 34%. That's 17 times better odds. Same person, same skills, same resume, different entry point. So if you're spending 90% of your job search time on applications and 10% on networking and visibility, you've got it exactly backwards. Flip the ratio. Spend most of your time on visibility, on building relationships, on making yourself findable. That's where the leverage is. Here's your action plan. This week I want you to do 3 things. First, audit your LinkedIn headline. Does it contain the keywords recruiters actually search for? Second, add skills to your profile. Get to at least 25. Look at job descriptions. Copy the skill names exactly. Spelling matters for search algorithms. Third, follow your top 10 target company pages. Takes 2 minutes, and you'll show up in recruiter filters as someone who's already interested in their company. And starting next week, make micro-networking part of your routine. 15 minutes a day. Comment on posts from people at your target companies. Build familiarity before you need it. Here's the mindset shift. Stop thinking of job searching as something that happens when you need a job. Start thinking of it as ongoing career positioning. The best time to build your network is when you don't need anything from it. That's when the relationships are authentic. That's when people actually want to help. So here's your cheat code for this week. Stop competing in the applicant pile. That's a losing game. Instead, become the candidate recruiters find. Optimize your profile for search. Build relationships before you meet them. Show up where hiring managers are looking. Make yourself easy to find and easy to refer. Because the data is clear. Sourced candidates win. Referred candidates win. And now you know exactly how to become one of them. That's this week's career cheat code. Now go execute.